Welcome back. You're watching Dukascopy TV. I'm Darren McDermott. Today I'm joined in the studio by Rene Philippe, Managing Director of Offshore Premium, to have a look at investment in Asia. So welcome to the studio. Great to have you in.
Thank you for your invitation.
So looking at investment now, Asia is such a popular destination. Why is this?
Oh, the answer to this question is very simple. You have basically two motivations. The first one will be cheap labor cost. Okay, but it's not only about cheap labor cost. You also have huge markets which are untapped. So basically you want to access Myanmar market, you want to access China market, you produce in Asia, you sell in Asia, you don't have transportation cost.
Okay, and looking at maybe challenges of people who come over to invest, do you think there's a lot of cultural challenges, such as, do you believe that people should be a little bit humble and try to understand the differences in terms of culture when they go to Asia?
Yes, completely. The first things you have to understand is you are a Swiss or US businessman. You have already expertise in your business. But the things you have to understand, in Asia you will be a startup. On startup failure, it's like 60% over 1 year. Okay, so you have to understand that you will invest in a market you don't know the language, you don't know the culture, you don't know the regulation. So it will be very difficult for you to do your investment. You don't know the market as well. You have to consider that some of Asian markets are completely atypical. I will give you a small example. For example, French restaurant. French restaurant, it works well in Japan, it works well in Singapore, in Hong Kong, in China. In Thailand, I have seen millions of dollars lost on French restaurant.
Why is that?
Because Thai culture, it's you eat, you share your food. And you can share a pizza, you can share a plate of pasta, you can share Japanese food. It does not work so well with French food.
And Rene, you believe some investors can act quite foolishly when they come to Asia.
Yes, alors this thing is based on 15 years of experience. Basically, I've noticed some things. Is a smart businessman leaves the plane, he will forget his natural caution in the plane,
really?
And he will. Some of them are acting like idiots.
Okay.
I'm not sure whether it's something in the air or the pollution
Excitement.
or the cute girls, but smart people act foolishly when they arrive in Asia.
And of course, when you go to another country, you tend to rely on other foreigners, other expats. Now, can this actually be a huge mistake to make?
Alors yes, because in my experience I noticed some things. A foreign businessman arrive in a foreign country, and it's true that they will tend to rely on other foreigner which has been there for quite long time. But by my experience, I have seen more foreign businessmen being cheated by other foreign businessmen than by local businessmen.
And looking at corruption now, is this a huge issue, a huge challenge for investors when they're coming over?
Alors technically, corruption is a big issue when you go do business in Asia. There is an organization which is called Transparency, and they do a ranking of corruption in Asia. And basically, China rank 80s, Thailand 102s, and Myanmar 157. So those are 3 countries where corruption is an issue. Now there is also some things you have to understand. Yes, Thailand ranks badly on the corruption index, but actually you can do business there without having to pay 1 cent. The point is this: if you want to set up a company, you want to have a visa, a work permit, a BOI license, we can do all this without having to pay 1 cent of tea money. But in Thailand, corruption will be an issue in 2 cases. If, for example, you want some things which the law does not allow, or the second case, if you want to access public market. But otherwise, even in a country which is badly ranked, it's possible to do business without having ever to face this issue.
Rene, can you tell me a little bit about understanding the differences between the economic and legal context?
Okay, the fact is that not all foreign investors who go to invest in Asia do this without doing their homework. Some of them will try to learn the legal and the legal investment context. But there is a big difference between knowing and understanding. One of the examples I have to give you is this. In Thailand, they have this government agency which is called BOI, which means Board of Investment. It's a government agency that works very well, so well that it could be a Swiss administration. But the point is, the BOI is an organization which grants custom and tax privilege to investors who come to invest in Thailand. But many foreign companies are confusing tax and custom privilege with tax immunity. And if the businessman does not understand the privilege he has been given, it can have very dramatic consequences.
And Rene, before I let you go, let's have a quick look at budget overruns. And they're pretty inevitable, right?
Alors, there is a misconception when investing in Asia. A lot of people think because it's Asia, because there is cheap labor, cheap accommodation, it's cheap to invest in Asia. But actually, in some sectors of activity, an investment in Asia is more expensive than an investment in Europe. That's the first thing to understand. The second thing is if you go in Asia, you have to provision budget overrun. You have to make provision for it. It may not happen, but it may happen. What are the kind of problems you can face? Office fitting, manufacture construction. The first things you have to do to understand, there is not one construction company which respects its budget or its deadline. The construction work will be late and you will have to pay more than what was budgeted. The second thing, for example, you set up a manufacturer in China and you will rely on a Chinese subcontractor to make some parts for you. You have to understand one thing, they will not get it right the first time. It will take several tries before they get your production, your parts right. So you have to take this into consideration. The last thing, there will always be an administration or a local authority which will have additional requests which will delay your file. So you cannot invest in Asia without taking into consideration the fact that your investment will be expensive and there will be a budget overrun.
Rene, thank you very much for coming in and sharing your experience with us today.
Thank you very much for your invitation.
And thank you for watching Dukascopy TV. Now, do not go anywhere, as coming up next, we will be speaking about Wolf of Wall Street, movie investments, and product placement. So, see you soon.